Chapter 5, The Lies Finally Began to Crack. Almost 2 years had passed since I walked away from Sophie without saying a word. One quiet afternoon, my assistant Sarah knocked on my office door. "Daniel, someone is asking for you." "Who is it?" "He says he's a journalist." "A journalist?" "He wouldn't tell me much." I nodded. "Send him in." A tall man stepped inside carrying a notebook and a thick folder. He smiled politely. "My name is Daniel Reed." I shook his hand. "What can I do for you?" "I've been investigating Ryan Collins." The moment I heard Ryan's name, my chest tightened. "I don't talk about him anymore." "I know." "Then why are you here?" "Because your story didn't end with your bookstore." I stayed silent. Daniel opened the folder. "I believe Ryan has been stealing from investors for years." I looked at the documents. "How do you know?" "I've interviewed former employees. And they all tell the same story." My heartbeat quickened. They trusted him. Just like I did. Daniel nodded. Except they weren't the first. He slid another paper toward me. I recognized my own signature. It's one of the financial records from your bookstore. I haven't seen this since everything collapsed. It was altered." I looked up. "Altered?" "The digital approval came from your account, but the access logs don't match." "You mean someone used your identity?" My hands began shaking. I knew I wasn't crazy. "No." "You have proof?" "I have enough to keep digging." I leaned back in my chair. "For years I thought I failed everyone." "You didn't." "I blamed myself every single day." Daniel looked me straight in the eyes. "The evidence tells a different story." The room became painfully quiet. Finally I asked, "Why help me?" "Because people like Ryan keep winning when good people stay silent." I slowly closed the folder. "What do you need from me?" "The truth. I've spent years trying to forget it." "I know. I want you to help stop him before he destroys more lives." I looked through the office window. For so long, revenge had lived inside my heart. Now justice was standing in front of me, asking for my help. I took a slow breath. "If I do this..." Daniel waited. "There's no turning back." He nodded once. "I know." For the first time since losing everything, I realized my past might finally become the reason someone else's future could be saved. I looked at Daniel Reed for a long moment before speaking. "If I help you, innocent people won't get hurt." He answered without hesitation. "That's exactly why I'm here." I nodded slowly. "Then I'll tell you everything." For the next 2 hours, I described every meeting, every document, and every promise Ryan had made before my bookstore collapsed. Daniel listened carefully, writing notes but never interrupting me. When I finished, he closed his notebook. "You've helped more than you realize. I hope it's enough." "It's a strong beginning." As he stood to leave, my phone vibrated. The screen showed a number I had deleted years ago. Sophie. I stared at it without moving. Daniel noticed. "You don't have to answer." I swallowed hard. I've spent years imagining what I'd say if she ever called. And now? I have no words. The phone stopped ringing. A second later, it rang again. I finally answered. "Hello." For a few seconds, I heard nothing except quiet breathing. Then Sophie's voice trembled. "Daniel, thank you for picking up. What do you want?" "I know I don't deserve this call." "You're right." She cried softly. "I've wanted to apologize for so long. An apology won't change what happened. I know. You didn't just leave me. I know. You destroyed my trust. I know. You watched me lose everything. I know. Each answer sounded smaller than the last. Finally she whispered, Ryan lied to me too. I closed my eyes. What does that have to do with me? He cheated investors. I've heard. He cheated me as well. I remained silent. He said we would build a future together. And he used my name to hide money. My grip tightened around the phone. Why are you telling me this now? Because the police are asking questions. I let out a slow breath. So you're afraid? I'm ashamed. There's a difference. She didn't argue. I loved you once, she whispered. I felt an old wound ache, but it no longer controlled me. If you truly loved me, I said quietly, you would have stood beside me when I had nothing. She began crying harder. I know. No, Sophie. My voice stayed calm. You only understand my value now that Ryan has shown you his. Silence filled the call. I don't hate you anymore, I continued. But I can't give you the life you threw away. Her sobs became quieter. I never stopped regretting it. Regret doesn't rebuild broken hearts. I ended the call. Daniel looked at me. Are you okay? I thought about the man I used to be. Then I smiled sadly. For the first time in years. I think I finally am. As Daniel picked up his folder, I realized justice was no longer about revenge. It was about making sure no one else would ever suffer the way I had. Chapter 6, Watching Karma Do What I Never Could. 3 days later, Daniel Reed called me before sunrise. Daniel, turn on the news. His voice sounded urgent. I grabbed the remote. Every major channel showed the same headline. Investigation launched into Ryan Collins' company. I stared at the screen. The reporter spoke quickly. Authorities have seized financial records after multiple investors accused the company of fraud. My phone vibrated again. It was Michael. Have you seen it? He asked. I'm watching it now. You did the right thing. I hope so. You didn't destroy Ryan. He destroyed himself. Michael was quiet for a moment. I'm proud of you. Thank you. After the call ended, I sat in silence. For years, I had imagined this moment. I thought I would celebrate. Instead, I felt strangely calm. Later that morning, Sarah hurried into my office. Daniel, reporters are outside. What do they want? They heard about your old bookstore. I sighed. I don't want interviews. They're asking if you'll comment. I shook my head. The evidence should speak louder than I ever could. She smiled. I'll tell them. As she reached the door, she stopped. There's someone else here. Who? Sophie. My heart skipped once. What does she want? She won't leave. I looked through the glass wall. She stood quietly in the lobby, holding a small envelope. She looked thinner than I remembered. Her eyes were red from crying. Sarah asked softly, should I ask her to leave? I closed my eyes. No. A few moments later, Sophie stepped inside. She kept her distance. Thank you for seeing me. I'm listening. She held out the envelope. I found these. What are they? Letters. I frowned. From Ryan. He wrote them years ago. I opened the envelope. Inside were handwritten pages. The first sentence stole my breath. Daniel will never see this coming. I looked up. Why are you giving me these now? Tears rolled down her face. Because I'm done protecting his lies. The room fell silent. For the first time, I realized she wasn't asking me to forgive her. She was finally choosing to tell the truth. I looked down at the letters again. My hands trembled as I unfolded the first page. Ryan's handwriting was impossible to mistake. Daniel trusts me more than anyone. That makes everything easier. I closed my eyes for a moment. The words hurt, but they no longer broke me. Sophie whispered, "There are more." I turned another page. Once the money is mine, he'll have nothing left. He'll blame himself before he ever blames me. A long silence filled my office. Finally, I asked, "Did you know he wrote these?" She slowly shook her head. "No." "When did you find them?" "Yesterday." "Where?" "In a box he forgot to take when investigators searched his house." I studied her face. "You could have destroyed them." "I almost did." "Why didn't you?" She wiped away another tear. "Because I spent too many years lying." I placed the letters back inside the envelope. "They'll help the investigation." "I know." She looked down at the floor. "I don't expect you to forgive me." "I can't." "I understand. I've learned that forgiveness isn't something you can demand." She nodded. "I deserve that." For a few seconds, neither of us spoke. Then she reached into her purse and placed a small velvet box on my desk. I recognized it immediately. My engagement ring. "I couldn't keep it anymore," she whispered. "I looked at it every day." I gently pushed the box back toward her. "No." She frowned. "It belongs to you. It belongs to the man I was." A tear rolled down her cheek. "I'm sorry, Daniel. I believe you are. But being sorry doesn't erase the nights I wondered if my life was worth living." She covered her mouth as she cried. "I know. I lost my mother once." My voice cracked. "Then I lost the family I thought I still had." She whispered, "I wish I could change it." "So do I." She stood slowly. "I won't bother you again." Before she reached the door, I spoke. "Sophie." She turned. "I hope you become someone who never hurts another person the way you hurt me." She nodded through tears. "I'll spend the rest of my life trying." After she left, I looked out the window. The anger I had carried for years was finally fading. Not because Sophie apologized. Not because Ryan was falling. But because I no longer needed their pain to heal my own. I picked up the envelope and called Daniel Reed. "I have new evidence," I said. He answered, "Then today, the truth moves one step closer to winning." For the first time, I believed him. Chapter 7, The Revenge Nobody Saw Coming. The courthouse felt quieter than I had imagined. I stood outside the entrance, staring at the tall doors. Michael walked beside me. "You don't have to be afraid." "I'm not." "What are you feeling?" I took a slow breath. "Relief." He smiled. "Then you're ready." We walked inside together. Daniel Reed was waiting near the courtroom. He handed me a folder. "These are the final documents." I accepted it. "Is this enough?" He nodded. "Ryan can't hide anymore." Before I could answer, the courtroom doors opened. Ryan walked in wearing a dark suit. For a second, our eyes met. He looked older. His confidence was gone. He slowly walked toward me. "I never thought you'd actually come." I said I'd tell the truth. He laughed bitterly. "You always were the honest one. And you always thought honesty was weakness." His smile disappeared. I made mistakes. You made choices. They're the same thing. No. I held his gaze. Mistakes happen by accident. You planned everything. Ryan lowered his eyes. I was jealous. I know. You had your mother's love. I frowned. My mother died. I know. But even after she was gone, people believed in you. I stood in silence. They trusted you. They respected you. I wanted that. You could have earned it. I was tired of living behind you. I shook my head. You weren't behind me. You don't understand. Then explain. He looked toward the courtroom. I thought money would finally make me feel important. Did it? For a while. And now? His voice became almost a whisper. Now I have nothing. The words hung between us. Years ago, hearing them would have filled me with satisfaction. Instead, I felt only sadness. The bailiff called our names. It's time. Ryan looked at me one last time. Do you hate me? I thought about every sleepless night. Every unpaid bill. Every tear. Every broken promise. Then I answered honestly. I don't hate you. His eyes widened. I don't. Then why are you here? Because the truth deserves a voice. Without waiting for his reply, I turned and walked into the courtroom. This wasn't the beginning of my revenge. It was the end of my pain. I stepped into the witness box and placed my hand on the Bible. Do you swear to tell the truth? The clerk asked. I do. The courtroom became silent. The prosecutor looked at me. Please tell the court your name. My name is Daniel Harper. Were you the owner of Harper Bookstore? Yes. What happened to your business? I took a slow breath. I trusted my best friend with my finances because I believed he was family. The prosecutor nodded. Who was that friend? Ryan Collins. Did you authorize the missing transfers? No. Did you ever ask Ryan to move your money into other accounts? Never. The prosecutor held up several documents. Do you recognize these? Yes. They are my financial records. And these letters? I looked at the envelope Sophie had given me. I recognized the handwriting. Whose handwriting is it? Ryan's. The prosecutor read one sentence aloud. Daniel trusts me more than anyone. That makes everything easier. The room filled with whispers. Ryan lowered his head. The prosecutor continued. Mr. Harper, why didn't you seek revenge when you discovered the truth? I looked toward Ryan before answering. Because revenge would never give me my life back. What did you choose instead? I chose to rebuild it. The judge thanked me, and I stepped down. As I walked past Ryan, he quietly spoke. Daniel. I stopped. I'm sorry. His voice broke. I know those words aren't enough. They aren't. I destroyed the only real friendship I ever had. Yes. I would change everything if I could. I looked at him for a long moment. I believe you would. Hope flickered across his face. Then I gently added, but wanting a second chance doesn't erase the first choice. His shoulders dropped. I know. The judge returned with the verdict. After reviewing the evidence, the court found Ryan guilty of fraud, theft, forgery, and financial crimes. The sentence echoed through the silent courtroom. Ryan closed his eyes. He didn't argue. He didn't protest. He simply nodded as officers approached him. Before they led him away, he looked back at me one final time. I hope you find the happiness I tried to steal. I answered quietly. I already have. He gave a small, broken smile before disappearing through the courtroom doors. Michael placed a hand on my shoulder. It's over. I looked around the courtroom. For years, I thought my revenge would be loud. I imagined shouting. I imagined watching Ryan beg. Instead, my revenge arrived in complete silence. I walked out of the courthouse without looking back. The sun felt warmer than it had in years. For the first time since losing everything, I wasn't carrying the weight of betrayal. I was carrying something far more valuable. Peace. Chapter 8, My mother's dream finally came home. 1 year passed after the trial. Every morning, I unlocked the doors of my new bookstore with the same words I had spoken years ago. Good morning, Mom. This time, I smiled instead of crying. The shelves were full. Children laughed as they searched for their next adventure. Parents sat together, reading stories aloud. The little bookstore was alive again. Sarah walked over with a grin. We're completely sold out of the new novel. Already? She laughed. I told you people would love it. I still can't believe this place is real. It is because you never stopped believing. Before I could answer, the front door opened. Olivia stepped inside. She looked around with shining eyes. You did it. I hurried over and hugged her. I couldn't have done it without you. She smiled warmly. No. You did this yourself. You gave me hope when I had none. She gently squeezed my hand. You chose to hold on to it. We walked through the bookstore together. Children waved at Olivia as if they had known her forever. She laughed. This place feels like home. That's exactly what I wanted. A young boy walked up holding a book. Excuse me, sir. I smiled. Yes. My mom can't afford this today. I looked at the price tag. It's yours. His eyes grew wide. Really? Really? I don't have any money. You don't need any. He hugged the book tightly. Thank you. As he ran back to his mother, Olivia quietly wiped away a tear. Your mother would be proud. I looked toward the old photograph hanging behind the counter. I hope she already knows. The bell above the door rang again. Michael stepped inside carrying a small package. I brought something. What is it? A surprise. He handed me the box. Inside was the original wooden sign from my first bookstore. I stared at it in disbelief. How did you find this? I spent months searching. My eyes filled with tears. I thought it was gone forever. Some things deserve a second chance. I gently ran my fingers across the worn wood. The old scratches were still there. So were the memories. Only this time, they no longer brought pain. They reminded me how far I had come. I smiled through tears. Welcome home, Mom. For the first time in many years, those words felt completely true. That evening, after the last customer left, I locked the front door and turned the sign to closed. The bookstore became quiet. I stood behind the counter and looked around. Every shelf. Every chair. Every book. Years ago, I had stood in another bookstore, believing my life was over. Now I understood it had only been changing direction. Sarah walked over with a small envelope. This came in today's mail. Who is it from? There wasn't a return address. After she left, I opened it carefully. Inside was a handwritten letter. I recognized the handwriting immediately. Ryan. I sat down before reading. Daniel. If you're holding this letter, then I've finally found the courage to tell you the truth without making excuses. Every choice I made came from jealousy. I wanted your life because I never learned to value my own. I blamed you for my failures when they were always my responsibility. You trusted me like a brother, and I betrayed that trust for money that disappeared almost as quickly as it came. Prison gave me something success never could, the chance to face the man I became. I don't expect forgiveness. I only hope you never stop being the kind person I was too weak to become. I'm sorry. Ryan. I folded the letter slowly. There were no tears. No anger. Only peace. I walked to the shelf where my mother's old journal rested. I slipped Ryan's letter inside its pages. Mom, I whispered, I think it's finally over. The front door opened quietly. Olivia smiled as she stepped inside. I forgot my scarf. I laughed. I was wondering how you'd get home without it. She noticed my expression. Everything all right? I handed her the letter. She read it, then closed her eyes for a moment. What will you do now? She asked. I looked around the bookstore filled with stories, hope, and second chances. The only thing that matters. And what's that? I smiled. Keep living. She returned the letter. Your mother would be proud of the man you've become. I looked at the children reading through the front window with their parents. For years, I thought winning meant watching the people who hurt me lose everything. I was wrong. Winning meant waking up without hatred. It meant building a life so full of purpose that the past no longer controlled my future. I unlocked the door again and smiled at the family waiting outside. Come in, I said. We're still open. As they entered with happy faces, I realized the greatest revenge nobody saw coming was never against Ryan or Sophie. It was refusing to let their betrayal decide the ending of my story. My heart, once broken beyond repair, had become the strongest chapter of all. And this time, I knew it would never close.